Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum, TIF, and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Suits, Startup, and Strategy, the Legal Mind. We have with us a guest speaker, Abhisshek Singlla, partner, Burgeon Law. With over 15 years of experience spanning international commercial law, M&A, joint ventures, startup advisory, and private equity, Abhishek has carved a niche for himself as a trusted name among India's new age legal disruptors. From his academic roots at King's College London to his role as mentor at Startup India and the Atal Innovation Mission, his journey is a lesson in balancing legal depth with entrepreneurial vision. Recognized by Forbes India, Legal 500, ALB India, and INBA, Abhishek brings not just knowledge but influence, empathy, and foresight. So, welcome Abhishek to today's conversation.
Thanks, Amit.
So let me explain you. There'll be three rounds: professional, personal, and a surprise rapid fire where we'll be in the hot seat and you have to be witty, fun, and quick. And here's an
Sure,
inspiration: Legal AI 101, which will be autographed and
sure,
sent to you.
sure, sure.
So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation Legal Tech Evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firm, corporate legal, startup, SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So my first question, Abhishek, how has the journey shaped up and what were the key defining moments you had?
Journey has been really good. If I have to talk about because I'm in my 16th year. I've completed 15 years. So uh, starting with big fours to getting into law firms, I had a multiple stints with different law firms and going back to now with the law firm and been there for quite a while. I think the journey has been really great, challenging, getting to work with a lot of startups, growth stage companies, multinational companies, getting into different kind of practice areas. So yeah, definitely, it's been very challenging, I would say, if I have to put out in one word. And it's been fun to ride around and get to a lot of new nuances, learnings, which made me one of the a good lawyer or a fine lawyer at this point of time.
Okay, let's dive deep in the conversation, Abhishek. How do you integrate empathy into legal counsel, especially when the stakes are personal and commercial?
So typically, I would say that I haven't got an opportunity to work on the legal, personal side with the legal, fortunately. But if I have to talk about from an empathy point of view, obviously we work with a lot of clients, and obviously the emotional intelligence comes into play and it plays a major role. And I feel that empathy, wherein you are connecting with the client, having that kind of a trust, showing that kind of a trust, and making them comfortable, that brings out a lot of factors, not only for that particular assignment, but also from a future point of view. So I feel that empathy and an emotional intelligence plays out a major role when we talk about from a legal side point of view.
Wow. So, Abhishek, you have advised clients across Singapore, US, UK. How does the Indian legal strategy adapt for the global context?
Typically, when I talk about, if I have to talk about private equity or a commercial contracts, the principles of how the commercial transaction works, they remain the same, which that's what my understanding goes is. It could be minor tweaks or some kind of an understanding basis the law of the land, which changes the subject matter at that point of time. If I have to take an example, we typically have a contract in India, how the interpretation of a indemnity or a limitation of liability clause in a contract could be differ when we talk about a Singapore or UK to a minor point, basis what kind of judicial precedents, what kind of interpretation, what kind of law has been there, because uh, the law has been different, right? Uh, we follow different law, they follow different law. But if I have to point out, the international law remains the same. That's common law between all these countries which we are discussing about. So practically, I haven't faced any challenges, if I have to talk about, obviously you may need that kind of a learning and that kind of an expertise when you are working on this kind of a contracts, international contracts, and having that kind of particular countries or particular contracts to have that kind of a governing law or jurisdiction to be a base for coming out any kind of an interpretational issues or any kind of an opinion giving out. So from that point of view.
Wow. So let's go memory down a lane. What's a recent legal challenge that really pushed your thinking or made you evolve?
Uh, So I'll point out recent. I won't say there was any bit because we now it's been a practice. I mean, because after having a stint of 15 years, getting into a lot of transactions on a daily basis, I think that's become a daily habit to deal this kind of a challenges. I think one of the day back, I can say that which was one of the in fact, there were two things, two transactions which were quite a sizable, and that was which I really want to discuss here. One was Flipkart. So I was part of Indus at that point of time, 2011. I was asked to move to Flipkart on a secondment, where I was working closely with Sachin Bansal, Binny Bansal, getting to work on their entire organizational matters, their entire portfolio of investments, like in terms of getting all the private equity investments from their market investors like Tiger Global, Axel, and all that, plus all the restructuring exercise and everything. So that was one of the biggest challenge, I would say, considering I was the sole associate at that point of time with a partner, handling the entire matter from the ground to the top with the partner. Uh, if I have to talk about just a small bit that the at that point of time, the entity had about 45 premises, and we had to restructure everything. So starting with that to moving the entire business from one entity to another entity, getting on investments in that entity, plus acquisitions at that point of time. All that happened within the span of 1 year, and that has to be completed off by one single person along with the partner's board. So that was one of the biggest challenge, I would say. Second was obviously there was one of the biggest contract. So Jindal's was setting up a stainless steel plant in Odisha, and they got into a contract with Andritz. Andritz is one of the biggest manufacturers of plants in the world. And I was sole from the legal side, advising the board of Andritz on that particular contract. I can still remember that phase when we were sitting in Jindal's office. We were having CFOs, all the senior VPs, and all that, about 20 people in the boardroom. And along the board member, we were two people who were completely advising. And that negotiation went over 6 days, like late nights. And then successfully we were able to, we closed that contract. And that was quite a challenging, hectic, I would say. But the end result was very, very, very positive.
Wow. So working on cross-border transactions, Abhishek, uh, and with multiple stakeholders involved. Uh, so how do you maintain कि by everyone is on one page and the deal goes smoothly and completes in a time frame?
See, ideally, when we talk about from a, and then this kind of a point comes in from a negotiation point of view, Amir. Because if I'm representing a company, I'm representing another party and all that, the differentiation comes in from a point, what kind of point I'm putting out across the table. And if I'm able to put out my point in a valid manner, which is really sufficiently supported by the concern of my client, plus if there is any kind of a statutory backing to that effect, ideally, I have seen that the other side typically comes and would want to uh, compromise or probably would want to adjust how things can be made better, which could be beneficial for both sides, right? So typically I've not seen that kind of a challenge, and I've been able to convince the other side in terms of coming out to the position wherein we both the parties are able to amicably close the particular challenging provisions or particular challenging issues which we had been facing out during negotiations of a particular transaction.
Wow. So let's come to your law firm, Burgeon Law. What is the story behind in naming of Burgeon Law, and uh, what has this journey taught you about risk, resilience, and reputation?
So Burgeon Law is a full service law firm founded by Roma Priya. She's the managing partner and the founder of the firm. She started off in 2015. I joined the firm in 2022 as a associate partner at that point of time. Eventually, I was promoted to partner in 2023. The If I have to talk about Burgeon Law, we our main core practice at that point of time had been that we specialize in private equity, venture capital, and M&A, and corporate commercial. Now, with having Ketan and Abhinav and Guneet to be the partners in the firm, we have got into other practice areas: energy,
Wow.
infra, healthcare, shipping, disputes. So that's the path for us to grow forward, to make it one of the in the upcoming times to be 100 lawyers firm, right? In not only in Delhi but in other parts of India. When I talk about my role and how I have proceeded, I feel it to be one of the blessed and one of the greatest opportunity of my times, wherein I had been given that in terms of uh, when I talk about from a challenges, when I talk about from a learnings, when I've been talked about accountability or from a leadership point of view, everything has been supported to me by Roma, if I have to put out in one line. Because I remember day one when I started out working on transactions, how I started off, how every year we work on numbers, we work on clients, we work on a lot of things. But that kind of a confidence or that kind of a learning I've had it in Burgeon, that's been a phenomenal. And that's been the greatest times if I had to put out in my entire 15 years. So
Wow.
that's something which I feel.
Wow. So from global firms and to other law firms, and now at Burgeon Law, how has your leadership style evolved over the years?
Uh, so leadership has uh, been a great. Obviously, when I talk about from day one to like at this point of time, obviously it took a while in terms of coming out to the leadership position. But if I have to talk about specifically at a Burgeon, uh, there has been a lot of the path has been really great when I talk about from a leadership point of view. From day one, has have been handling alongside Roma and other management a lot of things from leadership point of view, and I feel it too. I feel that the future of that side is really great, and I really foresee a lot of growth and learnings alongside.
Beautiful. Okay, let's go to your next role. Uh, you were a mentor at Startup India and Atal Innovation. So, what got you into this journey, and how has experience been?
It's been good, though I didn't get much of opportunity if I have to talk about to support startup mission or Atal innovation mission. But been part of a lot of colleges, or if I have to talk about to support how we can be able to educate them, give us learning of our experience in startup ecosystem. From a private equity, venture capital, or M&A point of view, that's how we have been looking out. So I'll give a glimpse that I've been part of IIMs, no, sorry, IITs. I've been part of certain other colleges in southern part, Odisha and all. So the major motive has been to educate them about how, as and when these startups are getting any kind of a term sheet, any kind of discussion they are getting on to in order to receive any kind of an investment. Probably they should be educated in terms of negotiating what are the rights and obligation of the founders and the company, and accordingly they make a judicious call while signing the document. And obviously, as and when they need any support, obviously we would be there to support them.
Beautiful. So, Abhishek, according to you, what's the most misunderstood aspect of corporate law among startups and early stage founders?
I think this is more from a legal point of view. Legal lawyers are really considered to be more of that are what I feel that as and when we talk about lawyers, people have some kind of a negative perception, and that's one side, and obviously other side comes out from a corporate understanding. People, when I talk about from a startup point of view, they feel that start the from a corporate point of view, compliances is something which is the last thing they would want to handle it on. The main core is the business, and obviously they don't want to much focus on unless and until there is some kind of an audit or a due diligence coming up, and eventually they would have to handle that kind of, but which is something a misunderstanding, which we always educate when we are working alongside startups, that probably this is something which has to be handled parallelly when you are building your business, so as to be ensure that you are in compliance with applicable law at all times. This not only helps to be healthy from a compliance point of view, but also helps that gives another boost or a confidence to the investors who intends to make an investment in the respective startups.
Wow. So now AI is everywhere. How is AI and legal tech impacting M&A advisory work?
See, from my point of view, we are using couple of softwares. We use I won't say that to be much of AI, but it's a software to help from a formatting and from proofreading and mic legal. We also I've been trying for a jurist fair. That's another AI based. But if I have to
Hmm.
put out from a nutshell, obviously that helps a lot in terms of if they are lengthy documents, if you have to club them to get a summary of that, you want any kind of an information about the law. That definitely that is one of the helpful tool for a lawyer, but obviously it needs more evolution with the pace of time. It will get evolved, taking into account that this is completely new in this industry. People are getting to know more about that, and obviously it will be more helpful in the upcoming times if I have to talk about.
Beautiful. Okay. So, Abhishek, what role do you believe mentorship plays in shaping the next generation of legal talent, and how has it shaped you?
See, I'm the first generation lawyer. My brother-in-law was a judge in Delhi, so that was kind of a motivation for me, and he was the person who guided me a lot in terms of getting into law. What is the side of law? Because initially, though I never thought about that I'll get into corporate side and all. My always focus was to get into judiciary, and that's been the focus. But when I started getting onto law, I was learning law, and one day I thought to do an internship in a law firm that brings out another side to get into a corporate. That was, and he was one of my mentors in my life who got me into law. When I talk about the future side, the side, obviously, uh, there are a lot of law schools who helps next generation of lawyers to shapen up their career. When I talk about from a mentorship point of view, but mentorship does make a lot a bigger role when I talk about, because as a kid you are in school, you are getting to know a theoretical side of law, but what is the practical side, what is your interest, whether that interest maps up with that particular practice area or not, that brings out a lot of, like, I'll give you my example. I've been in touch with a lot of students. One of my niece is also is part of Jindal. She's in fourth. She's about to complete her fourth and getting into fifth year. And I've been supporting her in terms of that what is right for her, because And I have been also thinking of if I would have got that kind of an understanding during my stage, it would have been more helpful for me to shape it out before where I need to do, what is the next step I need to take it off, and if it could be in a supportive uh, for me at every point of time when I'm taking any kind of a step. So definitely it brings out a another perspective. It helps a lot to take a right decision at the right point of time, if I have to talk about.
Wow. So let's go to your days at King College, London. What made you select this college and how did it help in shaping your global perspective to law and how was experience?
See, I'm a small town boy. Been I was asked. I've never known about national law schools. I was only aware of three colleges. That's Delhi University, Kurukshetra University, and been another being Rohtak. There's an MDU University. Family being conservative, I was only asked to go to any of these three, wherein the obligation was to come back to home, right? So, uh, going with the kind of environment I had been part of, I had a very limited uh, understanding, if I have to talk about. And with the limited people I was connected with, I got to know that at that point of time, though, now we have United States to have bigger colleges like Stanford, Harvard, and all. At that point of time, I used to get at that kind of an understanding that UK is a good place to study, and considering we have a similar law, I think the good colleges would be Cambridge, Oxford, and all this, King's, uh, LSE, UCL, and all this. So, thought of applying for this. I was always given a preference considering my seniors had been part of King's because of the kind of expertise, the kind of professors they hold, and that somehow brought some kind of a motivation to opt for King's while going for my masters in London.
Wow, beautiful. So my last question for our professional journey round, Abhishek, what advice would you give to young lawyers entering M&A advisory work?
I think my advice would be with you have a lot of information about M&A advisory in public domain. At least be ready with your theoretical before getting on the practical side, because that will help you out a lot. Because once you get into practical side, getting into a law firm or an in-house, studying out or getting to know about the theoretical puts out a lot of challenges, because time will be the biggest factor at that point of time. So I think if you are a student at this point of time, you have some type of bandwidth. I think you should start working on this so that you can use this time to upskill yourself from theoretical point of view, and eventually that will cultivate a lot of things to help you build your practical side in an M&A
Wow,
practice.
beautiful. So let's go to next round, Abhishek, and understand you as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
So I come from a so we we are with nuclear family. Me, my parents. We are two siblings, me and my sister. Uh, my sister is married. I'm married. Uh, yeah, so we all stay. My sister lives in Ludhiana. I stay in Delhi NCR with my parents. So that's a bit about my family.
Wow. Okay. So is there a hobby or pursuit which helps you to unwind and recharge?
Yeah, I take a break, and obviously, uh, whenever I feel that I got get exhausted in terms of at any point of time, I think that it's time to do some kind of an unwinding, do some kind of a recharge to be carried out. So either, obviously, there are a lot of hobbies of mine, one of which is to listening music, watching movies and all. So that's something which pulls me out from that environment and probably recharge me to get into newsfare.
Wow. So thank you for leaving to next question. Uh, is there a book or movie which has left a lasting impact on you?
I think there are a lot of movies. One of my favorite is obviously Three Idiot. I really like that movie. That puts out a lot of perspective, a positive perspective. Definitely, there are other movies also, but the pursuit of happiness, which I really love about that. Uh, uh, and obviously, there are a lot, but I could just remember these two at this point of time.
Wow. Okay. Abhishek, if your friend were to describe you in three words, what would it be?
Uh, I think one of which is hardworking, ambitious, and very determined.
Wow. So, what are your plans for 2025 personally and professionally?
Personally, obviously, I don't have much of plans. If I have to talk about, but definitely, uh, when I talk about professionally, yes, I have to do. I put around a chart list for myself. There are a lot of things I need to do to grow myself, my team, my fact, my like business side and all that. So there is a list which that I've been thinking about. I've put it out and I'm working around that to make that so that not only in 2025, at least in 2026 or something, I'm able to achieve that.
Wow. So, tell us about a personal moment where you felt truly proud outside of courtrooms and boardrooms.
So I've not been to much of courtrooms. But initially, I started off with litigation and obviously uh, uh, getting on adjournments and passovers and briefly briefing out the senior counsel. So that was been the scope at the initial stage. But there has been a lot of instances, specifically in transactions, wherein you had been able to negotiate really well to get what you really wanted for your clients. So from that point of view,
Beautiful. So, my last one is a googly one. Describe Abhishek in one line.
I think a hardworking person who is really ambitious and really want to do something meaningful in life.
Wow. Okay. So, let's go to the next round and put you in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Your go to comfort food.
Dal, chawal,
Wow. Your favorite color.
blue,
M&A or private equity.
private equity.
One word that defines your leadership style.
Uh, Focus.
Wow. A legal myth you did love to bust.
Sorry, I didn't get the last one.
A legal myth you did love to
Uh,
bust.
uh, Law is very complicated.
Okay. Best piece of advice received.
Focus on solution rather than problem.
Your dream travel place.
Uh, as is, I've been traveled a couple of so as of there is no, but definitely United States.
Wow. Tea or coffee to recharge.
Tea.
Let's raise to. So you did well, and here's your book, which will be a gift, which will be autograph and sent to you, Abhishek. So that's been a inspiring conversation with you, blending legal acumen with empathy, strategy, and vision. Your journey from King's College London to becoming a trusted advisor, mentor for India startup uh, has been remarkable. So, to everyone out there, stay tuned. Subscribe to the Coffee Corner Show, where there are 500 plus coffee speakers sharing their professional, personal journey. And if you want to be featured like Abhishek, visit our website, the Emerging India Forum, or LinkedIn page, the Emerging India Forum, or connect with one of the coffee speakers. We look forward to welcome you all to our next conversation. Until then, stay inspired, stay professional, and keep pushing the boundaries. And we meet with another coffee speaker, continue a conversation or cup of coffee. Thank you.
Thank